welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. Alright, well, let's see, got everything here, so let's get out and get on the way. Okay, we do have some neighbors out here, but they're busy burning to death. We have creepers over there, so let's do a little something here. Cover that up. And west is this way. The creepers are over there to the east and south, so let's go away from them. Yes, perfect. Onward to the FarLands. Okay, more creepers over there. Ducking out away from Creeper Central here. Yes. Well, here we are. Continuing onward in this 88th episode of the Journey to the FarLands. Walking to the FarLands in beta 1.7.3, raising money for Child's Play charity, and going on. This is the 259th Minecraft day since leaving spawn, and the world size right now at the beginning of this episode is 3,267.55 megabytes. Alright, cool. We're getting on. And let's see. The interim world size goal of 4,000 megabytes is now only 732.45 megabytes away. It's getting there. We're getting close. And as a matter of fact, about 20 3-day episodes. 20 episodes of 3 days per will get us there. Yeah. And other progress in terms of not stepping in that hole. Let's see, other progress. We've got, yes, the fundraising goal. We're right now at 2.82%, and we only need 2,055 more $3 donations to reach that goal and set up another F3 moment that goes with that. Yeah, looking forward to that. It'll happen. Meanwhile, continuing onward, yes, continuing onward. Well, been a little on the busy-ish side myself the last couple of days. I have been continuing this thing that I've been doing and playing in free roll poker tournaments, and I've had some decent results recently. There was one tournament about 3 days ago in which 702 people started the tournament, and I finished in 13th place. The significance of that is, aside from being 13th place out of 703 or 702, is that these $10 on-demand free roll tournaments, they pay the top 10 places. The top 10 players get a share of the $10 prize pool. And I finished just outside of the money. And not that the money is any great shakes. You take $10 and split it up amongst 10 people, and then realize that the higher you finish, the bigger the share you get. And you realize that 10th place is going to get like 55 cents. So, yeah, it's not a great shake in terms of how much you're getting, but the fact that there is finishing high up like that, that's awesome. That's really good. It's a really good, feel-good kind of moment. And this looks like, yes, it is. This is a screenshot moment. Yeah, that looks good. Like that. Okay, anyway. So, yeah. Kind of getting back in my stride because that 13th place finish, it was the best I have done since I got back to playing poker this time around. I had taken a somewhat long break because I got to a place where I was running bad all the time, and I wasn't finishing better than like 400th place or some kind of nonsense like that. And so I reached a point where I realized that what I needed to do was to stop, take a break for a while. And I just realized this is probably a boat place, a boat moment. So, yeah. And so I got away from it for several months because my head was not in the right place to play, because my attitude was going really, really bad when I didn't at least finish reasonably high up. And that's the kind of thing that if you feed it, it's just going to get worse. So you stop feeding it and you do something else for a while, even if the something else is nothing. And so that's what I did. But I'm back at it, and it took me a while to get my stride and get back to where I'm playing to the kind of level that I think I'm capable of. And I'm feeling a lot better about it now, and so on. And this is supported by the fact that I've had some good results in another of these tournaments, just last night. In this one last night, 711 people entered it, and I made final table, which means I finished in the money, because, like I said, if these particular ones, they pay the top 10 places, and I finished in 7th place. Now, 7th place is not big money. It's 75 cents out of a $10 prize pool. So, again, not really huge shakes, but it's something. And what it is mostly to me is that it tells me that, yes, I can, in fact, have difficulty talking while I'm trying to make something in a crafting table. I don't know why that is, but it's very, very painfully true. But I can finish high up in these tournaments that have hundreds or even thousands of people entering. I am capable of that level of play, and that's cool. Too much dirt there, so let's get rid of some. And yeah, and this is a good thing, because I kind of have a dream with this poker thing. And the dream is to get me out of this thing that I've been in for, well, forever. The thing of being dirt poor and not having much, if any, of a future or way out of it. And I mean, I've tried all kinds of things. I've had jobs, and I've worked at jobs, and I've looked at and even gotten involved in some assorted get-rich-quick type schemes. You know, they're all over the place, and at one point or another, everybody considers at least one. Well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people do. And I got into one once where it was a pyramid thing that was built around the selling of phone cards. And this was back when phone cards were first coming out. They were first starting to show up. And this thing was built around the idea of selling phone cards for $100 each. Yeah. I cringe to think about it now myself, but it went the way of all such things. It eventually collapsed under its own weight and just sort of dried up. And this experience was one that taught me something valuable about pyramid schemes, aside from the sage advice of don't get involved. Whatever you do, if it's a pyramid, don't get involved. Because it's no good. The secret to pyramid schemes is that the only people that genuinely, seriously get rich on them are those people in the top few tiers of the pyramid. If you're anywhere more than 3 or 4 levels down from the top, you're probably not going to make enough money to make it worth doing. And if you're anywhere near the bottom, you know, the bottom being defined as maybe 15 or 20 or more levels below the top, then it's entirely possible that you will never make any serious, real money out of it, and you shouldn't get involved in the first place. Hello? Whoa. Let's not go that way. Yeah. So, yeah. And there's been other assorted little schemes and ideas that I've heard about and looked into getting into, or even a few things that I've thought up myself that I'm not going to talk about it because I'm ashamed of how incredibly lame they were, and I don't really remember all of the details anymore. But yeah, and the reason for all of that is that I've settled on something that I think genuinely can work, because it's not a pyramid scheme, it's not a scam or anything like that. It is something that is based on skill, which is something that anyone can acquire, can learn, and become good at, you know, and that is the game of poker. Because it's, you know, anybody can do it, anybody can learn it, and conceivably anyone can really do big time with it. Okay, can I fit through here? Can I get my boat through there? Come on. I think I can. Yeah. Come on. Alright, I'll get out of the boat, and it breaks. Oh well. Oops, I almost forgot. Yeah. And, well, I've got here's a good example. I believe it was in the 2008 World Series of Poker. There was a very unlikely participant in that series, in that event. A guy by the name of Darvin Moon. He is not your average poker player. Poker is a game that he and his buddies were playing because they had, according to his story, they had gotten too old to continue their traditional softball game. So they started playing poker. And somewhere along the line, Darvin Moon managed to win an entry into the 2008, I think it was 2000, yes, the 2008 World Series of Poker main event. And this guy, this complete unknown, he came into this thing and he had the most preposterous, amazing run that anybody has ever had. He came in and didn't really know a whole lot about the game. I mean, he was playing with his buddies, but he didn't know much, if anything, about strategy and odds and probabilities and, you know, all the even all the rules of the main event and all the stuff. You know, he just got in there and he played. And to quote him, he said, "If I got it, I bet. If I don't, I don't." You know, that kind of thing. It was very basic ABC practical kind of thing. But he kept hitting amazing hands. He kept hitting, flopping aces and triplet trips and flopping fantastic hands and winning. He just kept winning. And where this took him was this guy that nobody had ever heard of, that didn't know a whole lot about poker to begin with, he ended up at the final table of the World Series of Poker 2008 main event. And he finished in second place. Which is awesome. Second place paid something like $4.5 million that year. That was awesome. I mean, you could look up video of the 2008 World Series of Poker on YouTube. It's there. I know because I just watched it recently. And the Darvin Moon thing was awesome to behold. It was amazing. It's kind of a underscore to the thing that I've heard people say for years: anyone can win. And if Darvin Moon can come out of, a logger from northern Maryland can come out of the woods into the main event and go all the way to finishing second, that's awesome. I mean, he came very close. He could have actually, if he'd have done things just a teensy bit different, if he'd have known any of the strategies and whatnot that the professionals are using and all this, if he'd have known any of that stuff and been comfortable with it, he would have won. As it is, he did awesome. It was an amazing run. Very worth watching. And, you know, So that kind of thing. And this dream I have with poker is to get into this myself. And even if I don't go to the main event final table, although I'm certainly intending to try it, because I personally feel like that is the future, and it is going to happen. Exactly how far in the future I don't know, but it is going to happen. And so on. I'm going for it. But of course, there is the thing that to play poker requires money. You need money to buy into these events. And so I have a plan for that. I came up with a plan actually several years ago, and I started implementing it last year. The plan is to play in free roll tournaments and use the winnings to build a bankroll. And once the bankroll is built up enough, I get away from the free roll tournaments and start playing on the regular tables, starting on the micro stakes tables where you're talking about 1 and 2 cent blinds. And then build the bankroll more from there. And once it's high enough, you go up to the next stakes, the next higher stakes, and so on. And gradually over time, build up the bankroll and get to where playing on some pretty respectably high stakes tables. Build up enough bankroll that it can be used to pay for the $10,000 buy-in to the main event. That's the plan. Now, it's been going really slowly. There's the one thing I've discovered about the free rolls is, aside from the fact that they are free to enter and that they have actual money prizes, albeit small ones, is that because they are so free to enter, you have loads and loads of people entering them that, well, to be nice about it, don't really know the first thing about poker. And therefore you have, if I was to give any advice about free roll tournaments, there would be two things. The first would be, if you can avoid it, don't play in them. You know, if you can afford to play in something that's a little bit more real, don't play in a free roll, because it's a very frustrating thing. And the second thing I would say is, if you do play in a free roll, be prepared to fold for a lot. A heck of a lot. Even more so than you might in at a regular table game or in a regular tournament that you pay $30 or $50 or $100 or whatever dollars to get into, to buy in. Because in a free roll tournament, I have seen this happen on hand number 1. People have a tendency to go all in with any 2 cards. It doesn't matter, and they don't care if they lose, because they know the thing is free, and they know that a half an hour later another one is going to start. So they don't care. And so they get in there and they go all in on hand number 1 with any 2 cards. I have seen as many as 5 and 6 people on a table doing this at the same time. And all I can say there is the person who actually survives the all-in, they got one heck of a start on the tournament, because they've got like the equivalent of 2 or 3 or 5 or however many starting chip stacks. And yeah. But once you get to the point where the late registration stops, where late registration closes on the tournament, then a while after that, the people that do that sort of thing are out. And then you can begin to play some real poker, or something that at least resembles real poker. Yeah. So, I got this plan. Play the free rolls. Save the winnings. Don't do anything with the winnings until the winnings total up to enough to move on to the other kind of game that is going to be better. So far, that's been very slow going, especially with about a 7 or 8 month break that I took because I got into a really bad attitude place, and you don't want to play poker with a bad attitude. You don't want to play poker angry, or depressed, or things like that. You got to be in a good frame of mind. You got to be awake and feeling good, because if you don't, that's going to really mess your game up really bad. And I recognize that, and that's why I got away from playing. I was in the wrong situation entirely too much, and so I stopped. I got away from it, and so on. And here recently, in spite of a lot of things, I managed to put myself in a situation, to get into a situation where, if nothing else, while playing poker, I was feeling pretty good. Even though the rest of life seemed to be it seemed to feel kind of like swirling in circles around the edge, as you go down the toilet, that sort of thing. But while sitting there at the virtual poker table, I was feeling good and having a good time. Like last night when I actually made the final table in that tournament. Cool. And that's part of why I'm playing so much of it right now, is that when playing, I feel good. I'm enjoying myself. I feel good about myself and the potentials that I have in mind and whatnot. Now, the thing about playing the poker free rolls is that it is very slow going. For one thing, you've got a $10 prize pool that gets divvied up amongst the top 10 players. The bottom 3 places get like 55 cents, and a couple of places higher up than that get like 75, and so on, up to where finishing first you get $2.50. So even with consistent winnings, that would take quite a while to build a respectable bankroll for playing in regular games. Oh wow. Another screenshot time. Yeah. That looks cool. But I think that I can do this. And the beauty of it is I don't have to invest money into it. I start out with 0. Build up from free rolls. Granted, it's a very slow, painful process, but whatever. And then take that and parlay that into more, and so on. And eventually it gets to a point where I'm on my way to the Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino to play in the main event. Yeah, I am so into that. So very interested in that. Alright, give me the axe. Oh, wrong kind of wood. I'll have to use this up as quickly as I can, because it uses up another inventory slot. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. That's what I'm doing. And I have some, I think, in my opinion, very real and reasonable possibilities of getting somewhere. The downside is that it is a slow, time-consuming process because of the necessarily very slow start. And yeah, I need to be digging in. And this looks like about as good a spot as any. Alright, get dug in here. Okay. Oh, please, come on. There we go. I'm going to be ditching a whole bunch of garbage when I leave this one. Let's do it now. Just have to try to remember that all that's out there and try to avoid it. Alright, close this up. Get this down here. And make up some more beds and boats. Okay. Alright, so that looks like it's about it for this episode. Be sure to stop by TinFoilChef.com where you can donate to Child's Play charity and bring us that much closer to the big time goal, and so on. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.